Good evening. It's Heidi Knuddle. The K is not silent. I consider that as part of my slogan. Thank you to the Idaho Press Tribune and KBOI2 for hosting this event. Thank you to my fellow panelists for participating in this important conversation. I'd especially like to thank those here tonight and viewers watching from home. I have met with many of you over the past 8 months. You have graciously invited me into your homes and opened up to me about your many worries. Parents, with tears in your eyes, you have told me that you're considering moving out of your beloved state to ensure that your children will get a solid education and a better future. Educators, you're overworked and underpaid. You know you could move one state over and earn a higher salary, but you don't want to leave because you love your school, your students, your staff, and you love your state. Some of you, like Joe, the HVAC worker down on Yale Street, have lost your jobs. You don't know how you will pay next month's rent. Not least of all, you're worried about the damn roads. Jose, who lives on 4th Street North, drew me a map of his daily route to work. He doesn't know if he can afford the costs associated with the damage being done to his car from Canyon County's potholes and decaying highways. Folks are feeling let down and are having a difficult time trusting that local government has their interests at heart. They are worried and frustrated. Well, I am here to tell you that I am frustrated too, but I am not worried. There are proven solutions that will work if we can bring everyone to the table. This is a critical time. I know some of you don't believe it. I've talked to many of you who don't believe it.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Todd Lakey. I've served as your state senator for the last 2 years. I also want to thank KBOI, the Press Tribune, and the Chamber and my fellow candidates. But I especially want to thank all of you that are here in attendance tonight and those that are watching online for taking the time to become an informed voter. That's very important. I also would recognize my wife and 2 kids that are on their way here from soccer practice, but not quite here yet. We've lived in Nampa for more than 20 years, and we've raised our kids here. They've gone to the Nampa schools. We've been actively involved in the Nampa community in leadership and in service to others. I have the necessary qualifications, experience, and strong connections to the community to help me listen, understand, and reflect your values and priorities as I represent you in the state senate. I'm a common sense conservative. That means I believe success comes from less government, lower taxes, and personal responsibility and initiative. During my first term, we reduced personal property tax. We eliminated that tax for 90% of the small businesses in Idaho. We created a results-based tax incentive for companies to locate in Idaho and for existing businesses to grow in Idaho. That's how we create good paying jobs and give families and individuals an economic opportunity to improve. Because of that conservative approach, Idaho has the 3rd lowest cost of living, the 5th fastest growing economy, and is #1 in personal income growth. We're on the right track. Education reform and funding are one of my priorities. Last year, we increased support for public schools by $78 million. We increased community college funding for community colleges like CWI by almost 9%. Certainly, there's more to do, but in the last 2 years, I've helped make sure that we are on the right track. My name's Todd Lakey. I ask that you allow me to continue to bring Canyon County common sense, conservative values to the Idaho State Senate. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Robert Anders. Again, I'd like to thank all of you for participating tonight and for all the sponsors of the event. This is an important dialogue and we appreciate the opportunity. As a 4th generation Idahoan, my wife and I have been married for 18 years. We have 2 great kids. I've been in the real estate industry for 20 years. I've seen good times and bad times. I'd like to thank the citizens of District 12 for the opportunity to represent them for the past 2 years. I'd also like to thank Representative Youngblood and Senator Lakey for being such great partners for District 12. When I first ran for this office, I promised to support balanced budgets, making Idaho more competitive, education and school choice, and I also promised to work to reduce taxes, regulation, and waste. I also promised to defend the Constitution and our state's rights. I kept those promises, and I'm asking for the opportunity again. Tonight you'll hear two different visions for Idaho, one that keeps us on the path of growth and one that we know does not. Few states were hit as hard as Idaho during the recession. Difficult decisions had to be made. Today the economy is improving. We are investing more in education, and we are one of the best places in the country to do business. This growth will help us to address the challenges we have. At the same time, it is incredibly important that the investments we make are done in a way that doesn't undermine the recovery. A growing economy can fix many of our challenges. Living within our means and scrutinizing spending is critical. As we grow, we can keep investing responsibly in things like education and transportation. The fact is that Idaho is positioned well to continue growing, and our opportunities are endless. Thank you.
Again, thank you to the sponsors of this candidate forum, and especially to those of you from the community that are here. My name is Maria Mabit. I have lived in Nampa for almost 30 years. I have 4 daughters, 3 that have graduated from Nampa High School. Marisa, who is 16 years old right now, and because she lives part-time with her dad and part-time with me, she goes to Boise High School at this time. I have run before, and I am running again because I believe very strongly and passionately that we must provide a choice for those that live in the Nampa District 12. I have had the opportunity to knock probably on almost 2,000 doors, but not quite the goal that I have set for our team of knocking on 10,000 doors. We have reached out to provide my information, but most important, I believe that a representative should listen to what voters, individuals in this district care about or are concerned about. And that's what we've been doing all summer long. The 3 resounding issues that have come up over and over, and there are others, but the 3 that have come up over and over have been education. Whether grandparents, whether parents, they are concerned about their children's and their grandchildren's education, not only K through 12, but higher education, and rightfully so. The amount of cuts, yes, there were some of the funding was reinstated in this last legislative session, but we must do better. The other issue is creating more than just minimum wage jobs in Idaho and health care. So I hope that I can have your support. Maria Mabit again for seat A. Thank you.
First, I also would like to thank the Nampa Chamber, KBOI TV, and the Press Tribune for sponsoring this evening's forum. And thank you to all for being here. My name is Rick Youngblood, and it's been my distinct honor and privilege to serve our Nampa District 12 as Idaho State Representative for the past 2 years. Presently, I serve on JFAC, Business, and Transportation Committees. I also serve as state on the Idaho Education Network Advisory Committee, the Endowment Asset Issues Committee, and the Idaho Credit Rating Enhancement Committee. I married my high school sweetheart, Arlene, who's sitting right back there, 42 years ago next month. We have 2 grown children and 5 grandchildren. I always mention my son, who has spent the last 14 years and is currently serving the U.S. Air Force as a Special Forces Operations Controller at Fort Bragg in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm an Idaho native, and I've lived in Nampa for the past 33 years. I'm a career bank executive, former small business owner and officer, and I've spent my entire life giving back to our community through numerous civic, nonprofit, and Christian organizations. 2012, with the redistricting, there were no incumbents in District 12. My friends and family and employer all agreed and asked that I would run. I felt it was giving back at the highest level of service to my community and state. I take my position very serious. I don't consider it, as I have heard, a game, nor do I vote based on grading of outside foundations. I'm a conservative, reasonable thinking, common sense Republican who loves my home state and great America. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Folks, if I'm not elected, we all should consider a new American law, and we'll call it the Political Dysfunction Penalty Tax. We really need to put the hurt on these political parties and these politicians that are unproductive, and they spin our wheels. They waste our time. There are a myriad of solutions, all within our grasp, and we're spinning our wheels. We need some leadership, and not just leadership, but dynamic leadership. The times call for it. One of the first things I would do, I would legislate and debate that we use our postal service to communicate throughout the year between students, registered voters, and the state government. There'll be no debate, no legislation or vote that I will make without the input of our young Idahoans. I will help lead this state from being near the bottom right to the top. Jobs. I have the dynamic requirements in leadership. I have the new century vision, the plan, the solutions for generations. Transportation and energy have everything to do with it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. I've appreciated the opportunity to serve and represent Nampa in the legislature. I look at important principles that I think that underlie what I've tried to do there, and those are economic development and increasing personal liberty. On the economic development side, I've chaired the interim committee on energy, and we've developed a state energy plan which has helped keep energy costs among the lowest in the country. I've sponsored legislation to help develop generation and transmission and distribution and continue to work on that. I've worked on our roads, the funding in order to increase and improve our highways, which is still ongoing, which is critical for our infrastructure. And I've worked on bills to increase broadband to communities, not just here, but across the state, because that's an important part of infrastructure. As the U.S. Vice President for the Pacific Northwest Economic Region, which involves legislators and businesses, I've seen that government provides the infrastructure, businesses provide the innovation for growth and to develop economies. And so I've tried to work on developing our infrastructure, whether it's roadways, energy, communications, or our education system. When I came into office, my first session was 2003. General fund appropriations for our K through 12 was about 1.96 billion. Last year our budget was 2.936 billion from the general fund, which was about a 5.1% increase from the prior year. So that's a priority, infrastructure is a priority, and I want to continue to work on that for the state. Thank you.